Hey guys, welcome to another episode of RossDraws, and thank you guys so much, everyone who joined the Digital Art Bootcamp. Yes, over 3,000 patrons have joined. It's so exciting. I cannot wait to teach you guys the foundational skills to become badass artists. And today, I'll be showing you a segment inside the Patreon called a quick critique, which is a quick paint over critique session. And sometimes, I don't know why I named it quick critique. I can barely say it. Say it 5 times fast. Quick critique, oh my god, whatever. Yeah, so I picked a few patrons to get a quick critique. Also a reminder, this is all my educated guess. It's all my opinion. You might not like it, you might love it, we'll see. Also, if you sign up before March 31st in the next 5 days, I'll be sending you a mystery pin like this one, Monobuy. And so, let's meet our first critique artist. Delta Kosh, nice, a forest spirit. I first off the bat noticed that there are 2 tangents where it meets with the antlers and the tails against the tree trunk. And tangents are confusing and they're a no-no in the world of art. And what a tangent is when 2 or more lines interact in a way that insinuates a relationship between them that the artist did not intend. It can create confusion on the part of the audience as to what it is they're looking at. So right now I'm just extending the tail and I'm extending the antlers to fully clarify that the spirit is in front of these tree trunks, where before it could be a little confusing. I'm going to use the lasso tool right now to cut out a clean shape of the spirit. You know, I am going to enlarge it because initially, the initial painting, I don't feel that impact of the scale. You know, I feel like the story of this piece is about discovery. You know, this wizard discovering this huge, epic spirit, but the ratio of the composition feels a little bit like we didn't hit that impact yet. And so I'm going to carefully cut out a clean shape of the spirit, taking my time, making sure that this is a really nice shape, because if it isn't a nice shape, it isn't a clean cutout, then I'll spend hours later trying to perfect it. And so right now I'm gonna take my time. Nice. And then I enlarged it and it fills the frame more. You can see what I'm looking at. You know, this wizard is discovering this huge spirit and it looks majestic. And right now I am kind of cleaning up the background. Use my mixer tool to blend behind the spirit, you know, maybe even use the stamp tool to kind of blend the background a little bit to get a little more clarity. Nice. And because we spent so much time, effort, and energy cutting out this intricate shape, you know, with all the antlers, it saved me a lot of time and I can really impact the background very quickly now, giving it a more moodier look. I just don't want to feel like one note, and so I really wanted to have a contrast between light and dark. And I'm gonna repeat that theme with the antlers. You know, this is a majestic spirit, and I want the spirit to have majestic features. And so one thing I added are these golden, beautiful antlers. You know, it's very kind of Princess Mononoke. It's kind of like walking through the forest and it's illuminating light. And I wanted to play up with that sense of fantasy. Because the original piece, I can tell that, you know, you're going into this fantasy route, but I want you to push it more. You know, I want you to, like, we as the viewer want to feel the magic. Yeah, and right now, since the antlers are glowing, that light is going to hit some of the fur, you know, and we want to make sure that we have material indication. And so I'm using a textured brush. I'm using different kind of sharper brushes to emulate fur, to emulate hair. Because I think us as humans, we really respond to material indication, and I don't want the whole thing of the spirit to feel one note. You know, the antlers feel like a different material from the fur. Overall, fantastic piece. I think it looks really great. Here's my quick adjustments, and I hope you enjoy it. Next one comes from One Submarine. This is a really cool piece. You know, this is a very cool character, but right off the bat, I feel like there are too many focal points. And the first thing I'm gonna do is remove one of those focal points, which is the tube. It's a little distracting, to be honest, and I want the character design to breathe. As I remove the tube, it's a little easier to focus on which areas stand out. For example, I love the hair. The hair is such a really cool focal point that the tube was distracting from. When I encounter a characteristic that pops out, I'm going to emphasize it more. That way, the audience really feels that characteristic, like bam, this is the focal point. You're being extremely clear about what you want. Some of the shape language is a little round, and so I'm gonna add some angles. We get the curve of the hair, we get the curve of how soft the cape in the background is, and the shoulders. I'm just gonna make more sharper, square shoulders to contrast all that curve going on. If something just has one shape language, then nothing stands out. For example, Pikachu is very round, but then we get the angle and shape contrast with the sharp ears, with the sharp tail. And we always want to have some shape contrast to make characters more interesting. Usually in hair or shape design, we want some supporting characters. So I'm gonna add some other supporting strands of hair to break up that one swoop of hair. One thing I notice here is the eye direction. Imagine your audience looking at this for the first time, and we got this beautiful character design. And so what I wanna do is add a characteristic that's more maybe true to the character in my eyes. This character is stylish. From the Fifth Element, I forgot the name of the guy who's the host. He was vibrant, he was flamboyant, kind of in your face, and I get the same energy and vibe from this character, and I wanna add more of an expression that matches that character. And so, I'm gonna add a smile, a little bit of a smirk, maybe a little bit of a flirty vibe.
Hey.
And make sure that this character is looking at us. This character is confident. It's a clear vision of who this character is. And one thing I notice is that this whole palette is blues and purples, which is awesome. I think it contrasts the skin color really greatly, but I feel like it needs a pop of color. And so usually in film or TV, you have a pop of an accent that helps us kind of identify the character. And so I'm gonna add a gold chain here. Ooh, nice. You see that? Even that little pop of accent helps kind of add some visual interest to the clothes. And also, before I took out the tube, I didn't change the hand, so the hand is kind of clenching on nothing. And so I'm going to change the hand positioning a little bit. Maybe this hand is inside the coat pocket. And when I squint here, I note that everything is just too formal in a sense. We just have solid, 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 and solid. And we want some texture. We want to play with that texture variety. And so maybe we need solid, texture, solid, texture, solid, texture, So I'm gonna add some rips with the garment, just a little bit, so we can add some variation in the solid and textures. Nice. Now, it tells a little bit more about his character. Each moment, each design you put in your character tells a little bit of something with the story. Yeah, so this is before, and this is after. And you can tell kind of what I did. I try to simplify the focal points. I mean, I really like the tube. I thought it was a great idea, but right now it's distracting from the hair. Overall, I think it's a fantastic start, and these are just my 2 cents. And the next one comes from SKT Edwin. Yes, they actually rendered this out a little more, but this is an in-progress shot. I thought this was a great starting point for me to give a quick take on. It's a really cool piece. I feel with hints of the rim light, maybe with the expression, it seems like she's deep in thought. And so maybe I can emphasize that moment a lot more. I feel like we can add a little more structure to the face. At first glance, when I squint, it's a little maybe wobbly, like the jaw is misaligned from the neck. And so we're just gonna add a little more of a jawline and a little more bone structure. And note here, the chest is missing some volume, and I'm just gonna kind of add some quick volume to the chest so she feels a little more human. Maybe it's an alien, who knows? And one of the most important things I learned to attack problems like these is drawing through. You know, sometimes we draw and paint and you seem like there's a lack of form or things look kind of wobbly, you know. I think my friends called my anatomy spaghetti anatomy before. Drawing through means drawing through the form. You're breaking it down into simple shapes and trying to fully understand what it looks like through the visible form, you know. What does it look like behind it? It'll help you have a better understanding of what you're painting inside your brain and can help plot out your light and your shadows. That's one thing I really want everyone to focus more on, is to paint with simply light and shadow, because that's gonna help you simplify all your painting and will help you become a better speed painter. It can help you see form faster and become a better artist. I'm gonna come back to the face right now, and I think the face can use a little bit more structure. You know, right now things are on different planes, and I'm not really sure what the anatomy is, and it seems like light is coming from maybe 3 directions. And so I'm just gonna simplify the face real quick, draw through, and note that I'm trying to draw the brain and trying to draw the center point. That is a big thing that really helped me with my drawing and painting. Finding the center point of your faces and your anatomy. By finding the center point, you can plot out where everything else is on the face. Also, right now, I feel like the values of the clothing are a little too bright, you know, like it seems like it's a top light or a top backlight, and she looks like she's front lit, side lit, back lit, and top lit. And so I'm gonna focus on what the painting is giving me. Now I'm gonna add a vignette near the bottom, because at the light source, that's where the brightest values are. One thing I've noticed is that your anatomy and your character is a little bit square. You know, there's squares repeating with the head and with the torso. And one thing you want to play with is shape contrast. And so right now I'm going to make the hair a little more angular, you know, add some triangles in there to help break it up. And that way there's a little more variation than just squares. With this top backlight, we're gonna add some hair strands catching in the light. We all love that, you know, the little peekaboo hair strand that just adds some nice movement to your pieces. Also, I really want to take advantage of this light. It's gonna cast a beautiful rim light. I'm gonna add some highlights on the top of her hair, and I've waited for this moment because the color dodge. Yes, I added an optical flare, a little bit of a light bleed. This is what I planned for when I first knew I was going to do a paint over of this piece. I don't know if it was your original intention. Maybe you want it a little more dull, a little creepy. I picked the color of the auburn summer hair because that already was impacted by light. So this is before. This was a really cool work in progress. I can see the wheels turning in your brain, and I just wanted to mesh the background and the girl a little better. Her hair's flowing in the wind, and I just really wanted to capitalize on that impact. And this next one comes from me! Yes, I actually drew this at the very beginning of my art journey when I was about 16 or 17. I was trying to figure out how to paint. There's a lack of mileage here, you know, the structure of the face feels off. I was one of those artists where I made every strand for the hair, which now I learned that you should not do that. And so I think it'd be really fun today if I give myself a quick tea. You know, after 10 years of mileage, of learning, of art school, of drawing hundreds of pieces, I can go back to this one and give it a facelift. And so first things first, back then there was a lack of facial structure, a lack of anatomy knowledge, and I'm gonna use Liquify right now to fix some of that bone structure. I'm lifting up the eyebrow, kind of bringing up the shape of the chin and the jaw, and trying to add a little more structure. You know, it seemed like a little loose. My spaghetti anatomy, you can see it here. Everything is all squiggly, you know. And so right now I'm just gonna bring more structure to that spaghetti. So right here is a very common mistake with beginner digital artists, including me. I painted every single hair strand. That is a complete time waster, and visually, it doesn't even look that nice. So right now, I'm going to simply block out the shape of the hair And another common mistake for beginner artists is using black in your shadows, and you can tell here that it ends up looking a little muddy. This one's not as bad as some of the others, but you can still see some dark black pigment. Shadows are actually really colorful, you know? And so I'm going to add a little more saturation, add a little more of a color lift. Nice. And right now I'm going to add a little more asymmetry to the garment. We are all attracted to beautiful symmetrical faces, but what we find more interesting are things that are off, that things are asymmetrical. Right now, we're gonna add some straight line and some structure to the crown. Big game changer for me throughout my art journey is painting and drawing in straight lines. It's actually my best friend. Not only does it add structure, but also simplicity. It actually makes it look more aesthetic. I mean, we can make a million marks on the page, but what's more impressive is if you can capture your piece with just a few strokes. One of the best things I learned from my mentor, Jimmy Jones, is that any section of your painting can be beautiful. Even the top right or the bottom left, if you zoom up on it, it can still be beautiful. And so right now I'm trying to design each segment of my painting as a little composition. Actually, you know what? She looks a little mad here. I feel like that's one thing that I've noticed as I've gone through my art journey. My eyebrows tend to arc down more and more and more. Maybe that's a symbolic meaning of who I am. Maybe I just got more mad, more angry as life goes on. Before, oh, Jesus. And after, yay! Not bad. Hey guys, welcome back. I have not done an outro in a while. No, don't leave yet. Just hear me out. But yeah, it's so much fun giving you guys quick paint overs. I love helping you guys with your craft. If you want priority on having a quick teak, head to my Patreon and sign up for the ArchMage tier. And also, almost 4,000 patrons have signed up for the Digital Art Bootcamp. That is absolutely insane. I filmed the intro a few days ago, and we've jumped to almost 4,000 patrons. I'm just so excited to be part of your artistic journey and teach you what I know. And if you sign up before March 31st, you'll receive a free mystery pin from my entire pin collection. So if you want more info, head to patreon.com/RossDraws. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe. And remember, every day is the color dodge day.